So somebody asked me a while back what I think about keeping a single goldfish. So that's what we're going to talk about coming up. Alright, so I'm actually a fan of keeping single fish in a couple different categories. Like cichlids, I think it's really cool to keep a single cichlid, as like a pet. They have so much personality, things like that. A lot of times people buy fish for decorations, but I think if you have a single fish, it is more of a pet and not a living piece of art, so to speak. So that being said, I don't see any problem with keeping a goldfish by itself in a tank. You might lose out on a lot of the social behaviors and things like that, but I don't think it necessarily affects the goldfish mentally. Now, if it did and there was some research shown to me, I haven't seen it, but if there was, I would totally be on board with not keeping them by themselves. So I would gladly change my mind. But another thing I will say is if you're trying to really have a nice goldfish, like a nice female goldfish, which I think this red caparanda is, and you don't want them to get beat up and their scales to change colors, then you do want to keep them by themselves and keep them away from other males at least, because during breeding time they will constantly stress out the female and bully the female to try and get her to lay her eggs. So there is that advantage too, but I think it's a great way to start out in the hobby, to be honest. A lot of people like goldfish. They're not necessarily the most beginner friendly goldfish because they do get really big. But, if you set up a 40-gallon tank or something like that, I see no problem with keeping a single goldfish in it, or maybe even a 30-gallon, at least when they're smaller. But I think it's a good way to start out in the hobby, to be honest, because goldfish do keep your tank pretty clean. They have a bad reputation for being a dirty fish. I have a video on that. If you guys want to watch it, it's on my goldfish playlist. But yeah, definitely keep a goldfish in by itself if you have the opportunity, or do it with multiple goldfish. I personally prefer more goldfish than one just because they're so awesome. But, whatever your situation is, definitely do it. So that's what I think about keeping a single goldfish in an aquarium. Toodaloo.